Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our Saturday morning practice. And we'll be spending the next hour and a half together on this, what we call the Weekly Bootcamp for our physical exercise as well as our spiritual exercise. Now, some of you actually watch this live on our Patreon platform. I'm having the same technical problem there again. So you won't be able to see me there. But in any case, we'll start our class now. I mentioned many times that we will be starting a Sunday class, in-person class in Oakland, California. That's getting more and more real now. So hopefully we'll get started pretty soon. For now, we'll continue with the Saturday practice. Okay, so today we're going to be doing a Qi Gong exercise towards the end of class called Yijin Jing, which roughly translates as the renewal of our tendon, but actually is more like renewal of our qi, right? Because the tendon in Chinese actually can also be translated as connective tissue. So there's better and better understanding now of what we meant by meridians. These are actually communication channels that are in our body, basically in between the connective tissues. All right. So
Danny 師兄冇畫面啊！
聲 OK 啊吓，好 OK 正先有少少問題。All right, so let's get started. We're going to be doing some massage, starting with the fingertips all the way to the toes, doing some massage and tapping and from the top of the head to the bottom of the feet. All right. Once we do all that, then we're going to do the Yijin Jing, and then we're going to be doing some meditation today. All right. So let's get started now. So let's focus on the body. And let's just sit upright first. So we start at the very bottom of our spine. We stretch the spine. We are walking up the spine towards the top of the head. We stretch the spine as if we're stretching one joint at a time. And then we lean back, relax, lift up our shoulder as high as we can, open the shoulder, and then relax. All right. So this is the right way to sit. It actually gives you a lot of energy when you do that. And so now we're going to work on our fingers. So let's just focus on our body now. And then we bring out our left hand. We bring out our right thumb. And we're going to start at the fingertips. So the fingertips actually a very important place because they are the exchange of the energy, right? So we talk about the yin energy and the yang energy and translate into English. Yin is the absence of the sun, and yang is the presence of the sun. All right, so we're done with the fingertips. Now we're going to work on the joints. So I want you to, again, take the right thumb and massage the joints all the way around, one joint at a time. Now, we're not just doing exercise here. We're actually using our body as an object of meditation. So I want you to keep examining your mind. Now, your mind has a tendency of being wandering around. Now we go to the right hand. Again, one joint at a time. It's either wandering into the past or it's wandering in the future, right? What we want to do is to focus it on the present time. So I mentioned about the 19 monks that are now walking towards DC. And so they always talk about how we ought to stop from multitasking. So that's another way of explaining mindfulness is stop multitasking. You're going to be doing massage, you focus on that. Don't think about the past, that's already gone. Don't think about the future, that we have time for that, right? All right, so now we move from the inside of a palm, which is the yin side, away from the sun, to the back of the palm, which is the yang side, facing the sun. Now we're going to take the index fingers and the thumb, and we're going to squeeze the corners of the fingernail. All right, a little bit like that, a little bit like that, and then now we move to the right hand, and then we're going to massage the joints again. All right. So what we're doing is we are using different modality, whether it's massage, acupressure, and then I will move to the right hand, or tapping, or Gua Sha, right, scraping. All that is to achieve one purpose, which is to clear the energy channel. All right, so now we're not done with the fingers yet. So we come back to the inside of the palm, and now we're going to massage in between the joints, starting at the bottom of the fingers all the way to the tip, right? So you're going to find that the fingers are very important because, first of all, many of us suffer from arthritis. That's inflammation, chronic inflammation, and that usually start at the fingers. But so doing massage like this actually relieves some of the pain, clearing the energy channel. All right, so now we're going to move from the inside to the outside. Once again, massage in between the joints along the length of the fingers. But you will find that as you work on the fingers, you feel warm all over, right? And that's because as you clear the energy channel, it's not just locally at the fingers, but it's in the entire body. All right, so now we're going to focus on the back of the hand. Now, again, I talk about the yin and the yang. The back of the hand facing the sun, that's energetic. Away from the sun, that's restorative. That starts when we were living in a cave. When we're inside the cave, away from the sun, it's restorative. When we get outside, facing danger, that's energetic, right? So now we're going to work on the hand here. And this is very important as we age. We want to get more energetic energy into our body, right? And so massaging the side of the body that is facing the sun is actually quite important. So there are places that we can start. One is that in between the fingers. So we take a thumb, use the edge of the thumb, and just kind of massage in between the fingers. Okay. And then now do the same thing on the other side. And now we're going to massage in between the knuckles. Again, take the edge of your fingers and just kind of massage in between the knuckles. We'll come back to the thumb in a minute, okay? Now massage. And now we're going to massage the back of the palm and in between the fingers. So again, take the edge of the thumb and just kind of slide it in between the fingers. And then on the other side. Okay, now there's three energy points that are very well known for longevity, and they're all facing the sun, right? Increasing our yang energy. Now, the easiest one to find is actually along on the bottom of the thumb. So keep in mind that we're working on the three yang meridians. One associated with the large intestines, one is small intestine, and one is called the triple warmer. So let's work on the thumb. And so if you bend your thumb back, bend your hand back, and along the bottom of the thumb, you push, there's a thimble, right? So this is one of the energy points. You feel a little bit of tenderness when you do that. So now we're going to use not the fingernail, but the tip of the thumb, and just do some acupressure. Press it down. Okay, press it down. All right. Now the other one is the opposite, which is at the bottom of the small fingers. So as you bend your wrist, it's right here, right? So as you bend your wrist, it's right here. And then finally, there's one on the index fingers as you come down, and then you bend your wrist like this, and it's just on top, and you feel that dimple right here. Okay. So these are the ones that can increase your energy. Okay. Now again over here, you bend your wrist along the thumb. It's right here, right here. See, right here. They all have names. And then the other one is right here. And then on top, right? So these are a good place to work on. Okay, so we're done. We do a lot of work with the four fingers. Now we work on the thumb. So let's massage the thumb. We use the thumb more than we use any other digit. So this is a place that deserves a lot of loving kindness. So massage the thumb around, and some of you actually might have some aching on the thumb. All right, so there's a part of the thumb right here that is associated with the heart. And so even though this is the lung meridian, each of the energy points along along the meridians can be associated with that one element. So for example, when we say lung, that's a mineral element. But along here, this particular point is the water element. So this one has been known to uh, 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 for both I'm sorry, this is the fire element. So this is actually good for the heart. So what we want to do now is we want to take the thumb and the index finger and we form a pincher and just kind of pinch this part right here. And then same thing on the other side. And then now we take the knuckle and we kind of drill into this part right here. And then we drill into this part right here. Okay, so this one has an energy, has a name. All right. Okay, so now we're going to do the same thing on the center of the palm, which is what we call the pericardium meridian. So we take the and just kind of drill in here, and then we put them together and we massage them. Now, this is the only energy point that gives out energy. So that's why we call it a healing hand, right? Okay, so now we take the right hand, put that on top of the left hand, and squeeze the fingers together and massage the whole hand like this. And then back on the other side. Okay, all right, so now we're ready to do some finger exercise, finger Qi Gong exercise. So the minute that you mentioned that they hear me talk about Qi, that's the life energy. And hang on just 1 second. Someone says they don't see me here. Let me just answer. Yeah, they don't see me. That's all right. Okay, good. Yeah, no, you see me on Inside Timer. I was trying to use two camera. Later on when we work on the bottom of a feed, it's easier to have two camera, but it just didn't work out. All right, so I switched back to the main camera, but for some reason, once I start doing that, I cannot switch back on the Patreon platform. I got too much energy, too much technology going on here, right? All right. We're supposed to stay away from technology, but here I am. I got like one, two, let me check. 1, 2, 3, 4, I don't know, 6 or 7 platforms going on. Just some people like YouTube, some people like Facebook, some people don't like YouTube because they're advertising. So we do that on Patreon. It's all right. Maybe even 7. I stopped counting. All right, so now we're going to do Qigong exercise. So what I'm saying is that the minute that you hear Qi, then you know, oh, that's life energy. All right, so let's just sit back, right? Because all the life energy, actually, the main part of the life energy is actually on your spine. So let's just sit up, stretch your spine towards the top of the city, and then lift up our shoulder, open our shoulder, lean back, and then relax. All right. So let's just sit upright. And then now we bring out our 2 hands. Very simple, very, very simple. And we take the thumb and the index fingers, we touch the fingertips, and then we just squeeze. Then we take that to the middle fingers and we squeeze. And then we take that to the index finger and squeeze. And then finally, I don't mean the index finger, I mean the ring finger. And then the small fingers squeeze. Now come back to the index finger, but put that in the middle and squeeze. And then the center of the middle finger and squeeze. And then finally, index finger and then the small finger. Okay. Now, the whole idea of this exercise is that the Chinese believe that everything is in 5, right? There are the 5 elements. And if the 5 elements in harmony, then there's life, right? So right now, we think that planet Earth might be the only one, or at least the only one that we know of, that actually have the 5 elements in harmony. Unfortunately, we see signs where they're now in disharmony. And so I wonder how long this civilization is going to last on planet Earth. And the 5 elements are what you would think. You need water, right? You need vegetation. You need the sun. You need the soil. And then you need the mineral, right? So when they're not in harmony, too much um, global warming, right, like that, and not enough water or too much water, then you have problem. And so the Chinese believe that the five elements need to be maintained inside a body as well, right? This is a small universe. And even the fingers represents the five elements. Now, it turns out, I think Martha mentioned at some point that your practice involved music. And so both the Indians and the Chinese believe that the music represents five elements, and each of the tone is actually resonate with your internal organs. So there are particular kind of music that I like to listen to. So in the morning, before I start class, I listen to either Tibetan music or Indian music or Chinese music that tend to um, uh, will relax me, right? Yeah, chanting would work too. Chanting would work. Yeah. So anyway, um, and so this is a good exercise because the Chinese believe that the fingers represents the five elements, and so they would work. The energy that you generate on the fingers actually will be the one that maintain that harmony inside you, right? So I mentioned this many times. So the five major elements are the kidney, that's the water, right? The liver, that's the vegetation. The heart, that's the fire, and then the splint, that's the soil, and then finally the lung, that's the mineral. Those five has to maintain their harmony. Now, even emotion are five elements. Anger is fire, right? Sadness is water, right? And fear is vegetation. And so they tend to affect your internal organs. So so there's been some really great study about cancer. Different people have different kind of cancer, but when you think about it, there's really only one kind of cancer. Cancer happens when your body cannot sustain life, right? So they change in order to survive, and they become cancer. They become cancer cell. There's only one kind, but the question is that sometimes they go to your liver, sometimes they go to your lung, and sometimes they go to your wherever, right? And there's been some great study that it's highly associated with emotion. People who tend to be very angry, they tend to have liver cancer. People who are always in fear, that's more in the lung. One of the big problems we have these days is that a lot of people are having lung cancer without ever having and they don't smoke. They actually don't smoke, right? So all the things. Anyway, so that's how the Chinese believe that the five elements are in everything, in our internal organs, in our fingers, in our emotions, in the music, and also hair. Um, Skin, bones, like that, right? So this is something that is very interesting to study. These days, it's easy to study. Just pop up your AI app. I use Gemini, and whenever I have a question, that's where I want to explore. Right? It's a good starting point. Okay, so now let's go on to the second exercise. So anyway, back to this. The swing exercise is well known because it reduces our chance of having a stroke. We reduce our chronic inflammation. So we talk a great deal about inflammation, chronic inflammation, and so the Chinese associate chronic inflammation with qi. So when your qi is not working right, then it causes inflammation. There's a very simple saying. It says if you have pain, that's because your qi is blocked, right? That's very simple. Now, of course, in the Western world, when you have pain, you take a painkiller. That helps, but it doesn't solve the problem. It doesn't reduce inflammation in your body. All right. All right. Now, second exercise has more to do with the neurological health. I just read a study recently that says, that, oh, maybe, dementia is not what we've been thinking, right? My father suffered from dementia, so I've been studying dementia. And people used to think that, oh, when you have these basically calcium deposit in your brain, right? Those people who have dementia tend to have that, right? And just like they said, well, those people who have cholesterol in their bloodstream tend to have a better chance of having a stroke. But what they don't realize is that stroke doesn't come from cholesterol. Stroke comes from the fact that your vessels are inflamed, and the cholesterol is your body's way of healing the inflammation. So I read this study about dementia, and perhaps the calcium deposit is there to heal the inflammation in your brain, right? So this is important. Now, exercise that we do, a lot of exercise we do, especially the Yijin Jing exercise that we do later on, really has to do with maintaining neurological health, right? Reducing inflammation in the brain. All right. So now next exercise does that, right? And so how do we do this? Well, we tie our fingers to our brain because this is the beginning of our neurological development. All right. So we use the left brain and the right brain separately. So let's just sit up straight again. Always start from the spine. Always start from the shoulder, and then open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now we take our right hand. We close our eye, but we can see our fingers even when we close our eye. Now, when we bring out our right hand, we're using the left brain. Now, we're going to manipulate these fingers one at a time. First, we're bringing the thumb, then two fingers, then the index fingers, and then finally the small fingers. Now, we bring down our right hand, we lift up our left hand using the right brain, and it will be the thumb, the two fingers, index, little fingers. Now we bring up the fist and we squeeze the fist as hard as we can. We leave the right hand. We open the fingers in reverse order. Little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Now to the left, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then we bring up both hands. We stretch them as hard as we can. Then we said to ourselves, I just finished the first time, now ready for the second time. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as we can. Open up the right hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And we stretch as hard as we can. And then we said to ourselves, we just finished two, now we're ready for the last. Thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Left hand, thumb, two fingers, index, little fingers. Squeeze as hard as we can. Open up the right hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. Left hand, little fingers, index, two fingers, thumb. And then we stretch as hard as we can. We come back to our back. We sit up straight. We put our palms together. We push them as hard as we can. And then we bring up our elbow. And then we bring down our hand without losing contact between the center of the palm. We feel the stress on the wrist. And then we come back. Now we're ready to do some tapping. I want you to think about tapping as if you're playing an instrument. I want you to focus on the fingertips and we're going to tap 30 times. Okay? Start counting. Get ready? Go. Now we're going to cross our fingers. We're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready? Go. All right. Now we're going to tap the inside of a hand along the small fingers, the little fingers, and then along the thumb. These two are very important. So first we're going to form a V with a palm. And this is, we're just going to tap this meaty part, right? Get ready? Go. Now we're going to tap the opposite, which is the thumb part. Again, pressing them together, forming a V facing down. Get ready? Go. Okay, now we're going to tap the edge of the palm. So inside is yin, outside is yang, including the edge. So the way to find that is that we fold a palm. We see this line, it's just right there. But this time we're going to fold our hands flat like this, roll up the four fingers, and then we're going to tap that gently 30 times. All right. Now, a little bit of explanation. So, the small fingers is the heart, but there are two heart. This is the heart. This is the pericardium. So there's no doubt related to the physical part. Now, this one more or less is related to the mental part. Right. So along this line right here, all the way to the armpit is the heart. Now, the opposite of that, the yin side of that is the small intestine. Now, many people, there's the Western world, they think that the small intestine is a second brain. So it makes sense that they're related. Okay. Now, okay, so now we go from the small intestines to the large intestines, right, which is the opposite of the lung, right? So imagine the lung is what the nutrient comes in, through our breathing, and then the large intestines is where we take out the waste, right, the toxins. All right. So now the large intestine is very easy to find. This is actually a magical point. I call this the merging valley. All right. This one has many, many purpose. So how do we tap this? Well, we take this point, we just put on top. All right. So let's tap that 30 times. And then the other way. Okay. All right. So now we're going to do some acupressure. All right. And I'm going to focus right now on the large intestine. Okay. Now, again, we come back to this merging valley. And the way to do acupressure is to use your right thumb. But the way to position the thumb, you start with this ridge right here. Then you find this line right here. You just put that line onto the ridge and you press down. You just press down like this. But then the trick is that you take your right hand, you put that outside of the left hand. That way, when you push, you're leaning towards the index finger and you feel a little bit of numbness, right? Now, this pressure points is very important to relieve pain, any kind of pain in your body, but it's also one that is famous for reducing blood pressure, high blood pressure. All right. The next one, you go all the way up here, is at the elbow. Right. This is called the palm at the bend. Okay, there's another one that I like where you measure 4 fingers, you find the top of the bone, and then you just go outside, you press. And very often I twist my back, and this one actually helps my back. All right, so move it around like this. Okay, so the other side, put that down, put the left hand outside the right hand, and press. Next time when you have cramps, try this. It's very magical. It relieves the pain. And then go all the way out here. This one is also known for high blood pressure. And then around, outside, press down. Okay. Now there are two other energy points that is very famous, and they're inside. They're inside. One is just on the bottom of the wrist right here. Okay, on the bottom, right? Just press. Now we're working on this side. This is the yang side. This is the yin side. Now this one is famous for getting a good night's sleep. There's another one that's very famous where you go from the wrist and you measure 3 fingers and it's in the middle like this. And so it helps you put the fingers on the outside like this. Okay, same thing here and then on the outside like this. All right. All right. So now we're ready for the fun part. Okay, get your tools, your scraping tool. Right. If you don't have one, someone mentioned very, very, very clever. He says, well, just use the cap of the jar. That works. That does work. When you have nothing, there's nothing. Just use a knuckle. That helps too. That works too. All right. So this is called the scraping, and the Chinese for that is called guat. Guat is scrape. Okay, Gua Sha, and you can go up to someone spell that for the others if they're not familiar, and you can go to Amazon and get all kinds of crazy tool for that. And there's if you go to YouTube and thank you, Mar. And if you go to YouTube, just look for that, and people will use all kinds of technique to scrape the face to reduce wrinkle. All right, so we're going to work this very systematically. First, we're going to start in the center line, which is the meridian name after the pericardium. We're going to take a ruler And we're going to scrape starting at the elbow all the way to the wrist and back. All right. Now we're going to move up, all right, all the way to the bone, but the inside the bone, that's the lung meridian. Again, from the elbow to the wrist. Now we're going to scrape on top of the bone. And then we're going to scrape on the outside of the bone, which is the large intestine. Then we're going to scrape in the center, which is the triple warmer. And then we're going to scrape the back of the hands. Those are who have arthritis, this actually relieve some pain. If you have carpal tunnel, this one will reduce the pain from the carpal tunnel. And then on the edge of the little fingers, that's the small intestine. Now let's continue, rotate our hands as we scrape all the way around, and then back to the inside. And then now we're going to work on the small fingers. There's four, about this area right here, 4 inches that has 4 meridian points. So scrape that, and then scrape all the way back to the elbow. All right, and then the other side. First, the center, below the bone, on top of the bone, outside of the bone, and then in the middle, back of the hand, thumb, back of the hand, and then outside. And then all the way around, all the way around, and then along the little fingers all the way to the elbow, right? Now this is very addictive. I do this for 3 or 4 times a day. It's very addictive because all of a sudden you realize, oh, there's something wrong with my body. I just don't feel right. I don't feel at the, at the top level, and because of pain, ache, and you just scrape. Now, someone mentioned this is, can I scrape the lower part of my body? Yes, you can scrape anywhere, right? And some places I don't ask you to scrape with a tool. Places like this, right? Maybe not. Or you can use some gentle tool, right? Okay. All right. So now we're ready for the next exercise, which is uh, like this, using the using the fingers. Okay. Now, all right. So again, we always come back to the spine. We always stretch the spine, then open the shoulder, lean back, and then relax. Now we point all the fingers towards the camera. We roll up the 4 fingers. We lock it with the thumb. We wind up the 4 fingers as if they're springs, and then but we hold it down with the thumb. Okay. Now get ready. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay. All right. So the next one is similar. This one is very good if you have carpal tunnel. Right. I get carpal tunnel because I use computers. I use my phone. Right. I use my fingers a lot. And the other one is good for if you have frozen shoulder. Right. I had frozen shoulder, but it's getting better now. All right. Okay. So now what you do is you lift up your shoulder again. You open your shoulder, open as far back as you can, lean back, and then relax. Now you take your hand, you form what we call the lotus hand, which is you're taking the thumb and the middle fingers, and then squeeze them slightly. And then you take the other 3 and you stretch them out. Then you put that in front of your shoulder. Once again, you open the shoulder, you sit upright. Now, back of the hand facing the camera. This is important. And then go 1, back of the hand facing the camera, come back, lotus hand, sit up straight, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, follow your hand, 9, and 10. Okay. It took half an hour, 35 minutes to go from fingertips to the shoulder. We got a long way to go. We got to go from the shoulder to the top of the head and then back to the bottom of the feet, right? Yeah. All right. So now as we move away from the shoulder, right, one of the bottleneck is the back of your neck, right? So people have a lot of problem right here, especially if you have high blood pressure. And high blood pressure initially can be because you have too much stress. So we need to work on that. Or that you just don't get enough blood flow into your brain, right? But then you take high blood pressure medicine, so now you really don't get enough blood into the brain. And so this massage helps. No, let's just sit up straight. Don't look down, look straight ahead. Take your thumb, put that around these two cavities. This is called the pond of wind. Wind is our way of talking about nerve. It's something you cannot see, smell, taste, but you can definitely feel. So let's just massage these two energy points. Now, it turns out that these two energy points is also very important for the eyes, right? So we're going to massage the eyes in a minute. But right now, let's just massage that part. And then now we take a thumb, we push in, right? Don't use your fingernail, just use the thumb. Push in, lean back, and hold it as if you're squeezing a water hose. And then relax. Now take the right hand, 4 fingers, push down on the left, and then grab the left side of the neck and pull it over to the right. The other side, push down, pull it to the left. Now you lift up your ear. This is the beginning of the vagus nerve, okay? So now you take your hand and you're just gonna massage the bottom of your ear, and then you massage across, right? As the vagus nerve travel from the bottom of your ear to all the way down the neck, right? And the other side, lift it up, massage, and then massage across. All right. Now you take the left ear, you push down the top, and you massage this corner right here. And then you bring it down again, massaging on the skull. Same thing on the other side, massage the top of the ear, and then bring it down. All right. Now you come back. Now this is the corner of the ear. This is the cavity. Right in the middle, you put your thumb there, and then you just push in. Now maybe you have to move down a little bit until you find like there's a cavity. And then you push down, you feel a lot of stress. Right. So this one, if you have problems sleeping, this is the one that would improve the quality of your sleep. And just massage that point. Now we come back and massage the neck, right? Putting the thumb and the fingers along on the two sides of the neck. And then we come down to the middle. There's another energy point. Then we go all the way down here and we squeeze. Okay, all right. So now we massage the neck, the left side of the neck. So we sit up, we turn our head to the right, and then there's like you can feel a little bit of a muscle here, and just use the edge of your right index finger, scrape. All right, now turn your head back into the front, and then scrape down, and then massage the shoulder. Right, there's a bunch of cavity. These cavities are the energy points. So massage the shoulder. There's a cavity. There's another one right here on the side, all around, and then massage the shoulder. Okay, all right. So back to the right side. Turn your head to the left. Feel this, and then down, up and down, and then massage the shoulder, back of the shoulder, the side, and then in the end, and massage the shoulder. All right. Okay. All right. So now we come to the face. Okay. Massage the face. Yeah. So it says, I love the scraping. Scraping is good. It really, you know, in the past, I when I feel pain or just discomfort, I take Advil because Advil reduces inflammation. Right. The problem is that Advil actually ultimately hurts your kidney. And so I stopped doing that. And scraping does the same thing. But it doesn't just do for the way you scrape. It actually relieve inflammation in the entire body. It's a really good thing. All right. So now we are to the face. So first we'll come back to the center of the hand. We energize our heating hand. We're gonna start with the eyes first, right? So now you generate a lot of heat, and then you form an empty hand. You put that in front of your eye, so you're not pressing down on the eyeball. You just like, putting a cavity in front of your eyeball. All right. So now you open your eyes, you see, hopefully you see just darkness. But if you see light, you got to move around until you don't see light. Okay. All right. Now let's get started. 1, 2, and then 3. Okay. Now I want you to massage the forehead, massage the face, massage the side of the nose. Come back to the face, massage the side of the face, and then put the center of the palm on top of the temple. Massage the temple. Now I want you to massage in between the eyebrow, and then on top, right, where the hair comes into a point. Okay, now I want you to massage the edge, the beginning of the eyebrow. Massage on top of the eyebrow. Massage the forehead, and then just go up to the part of the brain that is responsible for all your cognitive function, the back that is responsible for the memory, and then the lower part, which is the motor function. Massage the neck, and then massage the top of the ear. Come back to the face, and then now once again, let's just massage the fingers. So grab each of the fingers and just kind of rotate around like this. And now we're ready to massage the eyes. The eyes is very complicated. 3 energy points, another one here, and then also the back of the head, right? So as we age, we start to get lots of problems with the eyes. So it's good to keep maintain the health. So we do that by starting with the index finger. We put at the beginning of the eyebrow, we sit up straight, and we just apply some pressure, right? Push it down. All right, and then now we put the fingers in between the eyebrow, and we just like massage the eyebrow as if you're squeezing toothpaste, because you also want to squeeze the oil tubes. Okay, now we take the thumb, we put that at the corner of the eye, and we just go towards the tail, below the eye bag, right? And then the other side. Okay, now we come back with the index finger, we put that at the corner of the eye, like this. Okay, and then we close our eye, we're going to do some eye exercise. All right, so now close your eyes and then turn your eyeballs up as if you're looking at the ceiling. Turn it to the right as far as you can. Turn it down so you're looking at the floor. Close your eyes and then turn it to the left and then back to up. So we're going to rotate our eyeballs in the clockwise direction. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Up, right, down, left. Back to up. We're going to now do it in the counterclockwise direction. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Left, down, right, up. Okay, now open your eyes. There's 2 energy points. Go to the right eye. Right eye. So now take index, 2 fingers, massage until you get to the chin. Massage, massage. All right. Now take 2 fingers and massage right here, right here. Massage outside your nostril. Massage in between your nose and your lip, and then massage the neck area. All right, so now we're ready to massage your ears. There's a lot to do. There's a lot to do. And the ears, now the importance of the ears is that the ear actually by itself have 150 energy points, right? It actually reflects the entire body, but it's upside down, just like the fetus. So we take a thumb, we put that on top of the ear, we put 4 fingers in the back and we massage the top part of the ear. Then we put in the middle and we massage the back of the ear. Now we take the index finger, put that on the bottom, put the thumb in the back, massage the back. Now we massage the tip, yank, massage the edge, massage the ear loop, yank. Leave the thumb behind the ear loop. Take the index finger, put that outside of the ear, and this is massage. Now we massage the back of the ear. The back of the ear is actually known for reducing high blood pressure. Okay? So we go from the top, massage, all the way down. Then we take 2 fingers. First we massage the corner, then As we come down, one finger is on back of the ear, one finger on the skull, and then to the bottom of the ear. All right. And then the other side, again, massage. And then, all right. So one last exercise is called drumming of the ear. So we take two hands, put that in the back, close your ear, stretch, and then go 1, 2, 3. Okay. All right. So now we're ready to do some tapping, right? We finally get to the top of the head. Now, this energy point is there was an article that I read. It's actually it was in Facebook, of course, right? If it's not on Facebook, it's not real. But it was actually referencing a technical article on a medical journal. So some scientists in Taiwan in a university, they were very interested in really bringing the Oriental science into the Western world. So they were studying about tapping the top of the head and also tapping. We'll come to that. Tapping the outside of this is a very very famous energy point. It's part of the stomach meridian. They were just focusing on those two energy points, see what they can do. Now, of course, they're not doing tapping. What they were doing was uh, actually putting a needle on top of the head, and then and then they apply electricity, and then they were studying the effect on the body, and they actually discovered that. I don't know quite know how to explain it correctly, but something has to do with stem cell and something about how the stem cell were self-generated and actually repair some damaged organs. So there's more and more understanding of how these energy point works. Okay, now um, I'm not a doctor. Obviously, I'm not a medical scientist, but I am a meditator, and so my way of doing experimentation is through my mind, right? If I don't feel it, then it's not valid for me. So everything that I do here is something that I actually feel. I can feel the change in my body when I do this, and I can feel the change when I do that, right? So that's what I believe, and that actually is the basis for the Eastern science, right? So if you think about the Western science, they're experimental science. Well, then the Eastern science is experiential science. You have to experience it, and the only way that you can experience something that is in your body is through mindfulness. That you're actually paying attention. And not only paying attention, what I call anchoring your mind on your body, feel your body, but also managing your emotion so that the emotion doesn't become a cluttering, right? So you can actually see your existence clearly. And then when you can do that, you can see the effect on your body. So that's how I do it, right? So everything that we do here, sometimes I add, sometimes I take away, because if I can feel the change, I do more, right? And it does have an effect on you. It does have an effect on you, especially on longevity, right? I tell you, so I've been following my Dharma master now for almost 10 years. And I've been practicing everything he taught me, everything that I do here for the last 10 years. And it's been a great change. It's been a great change. When I look at pictures of how I was 10 years ago, I swear I am doing reverse aging, right? I'm doing reverse aging. Okay, all right, so let's continue. And so now we're going to tap on the top of the head. So, of course, we're going to sit up straight. Of course, we're going to lift up our shoulder. Of course, we're going to open and lean back. But more than that, we lean back our forehead so the ears on top of the shoulder. We tuck in the chin. So, this energy point is actually on top of our spiral cord. Now, we take our fingers, we put that on top, and we're going to tap. And but again, it's like playing an instrument. You got to pay attention. Okay, so count 30 times. Get ready, go. Okay, now I'm going to move to the shoulder. The shoulder has the energy point here. In front has two. So we're going to open that shoulder, lean back, relax. We're going to turn our head to the right, bring out our right hand, forming the empty hand, fingers on top, and the center of the palm in front. We're going to listen with the left ear. Get ready, Go. Wake up. Continue. Okay, now we're gonna open the shoulder again, lean back, relax. I'm gonna take the left hand, turn the head to the left, put that on the right shoulder, listen with the right ear, get ready, go. Wake up, continue. Okay, now we're going to move to the bottom of the armpit. Now I mentioned that this is the heart, right, or more like the mind, and there's a muscle here, right? So we talk a lot about how when we age we don't want to lose muscle. Well, the two places where you don't want to lose the muscle. One is right here, that is your mental strength. The other one is at the calf. The calf is the second heart, right? So notice that when we get down to the floor to do Yijin Jing, exercise that we do there is about this. It's about the calf, right? Among other things. So how do we stretch this? Well, we take our elbow, our left elbow, we put that on top of the ear. We sit up straight. Now we're stretching this, right? Now we take a hand and we pinch upper part of the ear. Remember I said that this is in reverse, which means that you're working on the adrenal gland when you do that. All right, now we look straight ahead. We turn our head to the right. We bring out our right hand. We form the empty hand. We put down our left. We listen with the left ear. Get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now to the right side, we take that to the elbow, sit up straight, pinch the left side, turn the head to the left hand, empty hand, right ear, listen, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, and then finally, there's another one. Now, there are 8 cavities that are very well known for longevity. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then there are 4 on the lower part of the body. I'll come to that. But this is important. Now, these 8 cavities are selected for purpose. They're the closest to your internal organs. They also happen to be the warmest part of your body. This is very warm, right? I know that. When my son and I climbed Kenya and Mount Kilimanjaro, that was the only way I could keep myself warm was like this. All right, but the elbow is the same now. Elbow actually have 3 energy points: heart, pericardium, and the lung. Very important. So we lock the elbow, we lift up our hand, we use the right hand, we wrap it around. So fingers on top, palm on the side, listen with the left ear, using your empty hand. Get ready, go. Continue. And then the other side. Right hand, right ear. Get ready. Go. Continue. Okay. All right. So now we go to the lower part of the body. Okay, I figured out what the technical problems are because it only happens on Saturday. I think when I was using a feature, and it has to do with something called virtual camera. And the idea is that I can switch to another camera. And let me try to do that manually. Okay, let me see if I could do that now. Okay. I okay, but the problem is that now I have to do it 3 times. Okay, that works. Excuse me. Okay, so we're going to work on the lower part of the body. Okay, let me see if that works. So the way to understand the lower part of the body is, again, with the 5 elements. This is the lower part of the body is basically your metabolic function. And the metabolic function has to do with the water, right? The soil and the vegetation, where the upper part of the body has to do with your lung, which is the mineral, and your heart, which is the fire. So the easiest way to think about it is that the soil element is everything you do after birth, right? Just like planting a vegetable. You need to have the water, but then all the work that I put in is in the soil. All right, so we're going to work on inside, which is this energy point here, which is related to the splint energy line. And so first you find the inside of your knee. Then you measure 3 fingers on the inside. You press in a little bit tender. This energy point is called the sea of blood. I don't know why it's called that, but it cleans your blood. And so if you have high blood pressure, or more accurately, if you have high cholesterol, then this is an energy point that they recommend. So to do that, we use the outside of our finger right here, outside, right here, and we just put that on top, right? Now again, you do this as if you're playing an instrument. So keep it flexible, focus, and start counting. Okay, so this is the splint. This is the yin side of the soil element. And so the yang side of the soil element is in the stomach. Now, as in soil, soil is important because it does 2 things. It does what is called transformation, which takes your nutrient and make it so that it's accessible to the plant, right? But it also does something else. It does what's called transportation, right? It has to maintain the water, not too much, not too little. So basically, these 2 elements is for your digestion, which is your transformation, but it's also for channeling the water inside your body. And so this one is very famous. This is, I talk about the stem cell research. And so you come to the knee, right? You come to the knee, you measure 4 fingers. 4 fingers is your measurement tool, customized for you. Now you find the bone, right? It's just right now outside the bone. You can feel it. Now this is a very famous energy point. Okay, now you can feel on the both sides. Now you take your fist, use the inside, and we're gonna tap that 30 times. Get ready? Go. Now you move another 4 fingers. Again, find the bone on the outside. Get ready? Go. Okay, so this is the splint and the stomach pair. Now, some of you probably can get exposed to the tools you can buy where you can put a adhesive pad and apply electricity, and so those you can do too. All right, so now we move from the splint stomach pair to the liver gallbladder pair. So first the liver. Now we're going to come back to the toe. That's where the liver energy start. And so we're just going to tap the inside 30 times. Now we're going to close the knee. The opposite of that is the gallbladder. we're going to pick 2 energy points. So you go from the knee to the hip, you divide it into 3 parts. These 2 are famous for reducing your chance of having a stroke. Again, we use the edge of a fist. Get ready? Go. Let me just move a little bit so you can see. Okay. All right. Better, huh? All right. So this is here. So move up. Now, this is above the knee. So below the knee, there's 3 energy points along this gallbladder meridian. The first one is just like if you think of the knee as a small hill, it's at the bottom of the hill. So if you move down, this is the first cavity. It's right here. Again, using the edge of your fist. Now, this is important for your immunity. Get ready? Go. Now, and then all the way to the middle. Now, this energy point is part of the gallbladder meridian, which is the yang side of the liver. The liver has to do with the eye, okay? So this one is similar to the bright eye. Get ready? Go. And then we go all the way down to the ankle. We measure 4 fingers on the outside. Now, this one is called the hanging bell, and you can feel some tingling on your toes when you do that. Get ready? Go. Okay, so now we work on one more, which is the bladder, which is in the back right here. And this energy point is very important. Now, but first, what do you call that? This is your calf. This is your second heart, okay? This is very important. This energy point is also very important. So you put that on your right knee, squeeze, right? And then we tap that energy point. Now, you notice that when we do Yijin Jing, we always, all through, from the beginning to the end, we stand with our knee kind of loose in order to activate this energy point. Okay, here's that point. Get ready? Go. And then similarly do that the other side. And then go. Okay, all right. So now we work on the toes, right? Now this is important. We are massaging the toes. So first we're going to open up the big toe and the second toe. We see this cavity, this line here. We just use the edge of the thumb massage. Now you notice the parallel between here and here, right? So this is part of your liver energy line. And if you have problems going to sleep or you wake up in the middle of the night between 1 to 3 o'clock, that's what we call liver fire. So you want to massage that. After that, you open, you massage in between the toes, and then you massage before the two pieces of bone join together. Then you flipped it upside down, you bend back the toes. This is a tendon, it's the longevity tendon right here. Scrape, relax, scrape the bottom of your feet, scrape the heel, scrape the ball area, massage the toes one at a time. Massage in between the toes. And then very important, we learn to scrape the arch. Now, the beginning of the arch ties with the splint. Towards here, tied with the kidney. So let's just scrape the arch first, all the way around. And then we scrape right below the bone. There's 3 energy points here. It's very important. 2 energy points, sorry. And then right below the ankle, and then behind the ankle towards the Achilles heel, and then measure 4 fingers, and then feel the bone inside the bone. That's called the 3 yin meet. 3 of the yin energy come together, and scrape the inside. Okay. Now you notice that I don't have much swelling in my feet. This is a sign of good health. So if you look at your feet and you press down your thumb and it doesn't come back right away, then you have problem with swelling, and you're going to have to massage your feet more, right, to get your circulation. It's very important. Okay, now on the other side, and then in the middle, and then in between, and then before the bone join together, turn it upside down, scrape this piece of tendon, scrape the bottom of your feet, scrape the heels, scrape the ball area, massage the fingers, toes, sorry, massage in between the toes, and then scrape the arch right below the bone, right below the ankle. Do some acupressure towards the Achilles heel, measure 4 fingers, do some acupressure on this energy point, and then scrape on the inside. And we're going to do one more thing I forgot to do on the left side. So you bend your toes back. This energy point is very important. This is called a gushing spring. Then you take your empty hand, they fit together perfectly. And we're going to tap that together. This is water, this is fire. Okay, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, now let's do the other side. I forgot to do that. Bend your toes back, form empty hand, get ready, go. Continue. Okay, all right, so we're gonna work on the floor, but I gotta switch back the camera, which is why I was hoping to. And let me do that side. Now, let me talk a little bit about swelling, okay? One more. Next time I'll figure out how to do it. Okay, now let me talk about swelling. So the way the body works is that we use the blood vessel to pump blood into our extremities. But once you get to the extremities, there's not enough pressure to bring the water back. So half of the water goes to our lymphatic system, because the lymphatic system is just right there. It doesn't do much, right? So our body is designed so that the blood goes to extremity through the blood vessel, but then half of them come back to the lymphatic system. So when you have swelling, it's because the water is not returning. And that could be 1 or 2 reasons. One is that your heart is deteriorating. It just doesn't give you enough pressure. The other one is that from the Chinese medicine standpoint is that your splint is not working, right? It's not bringing, the splint energy is not working. And so you can work on your diet. You can work on your diet first. Stop eating sugar, right? Stop eating sugar. The sugar is toxin, and the cells are retaining the water because it's protecting itself from the toxin. So if you feel that you're overweight, chances are it's just water. And so if you go on a diet where you reduce your sugary drinks and you reduce your carbohydrate, you shed water just like that. Okay, very important. Because if your lymphatic system is not working, you have no immunity, right? Okay, so let's just do more tapping. All right, so put your fingers in the back. These are the remaining four longevity cavity. Get ready, go. Continue. And one last one. This is a very famous one. This is actually the bottleneck for all your yang energy that is responsible for your, what do you call that? Right? So right here. And it's also where your reproductive organs are. The reproductive organs continue to be important as you age because they're actually a source of life, not only for your the next generation, but even for yourself. Okay, so we're going to tap that 30 times. Get ready, go. Okay, so now we're ready for Yijin Jing. Okay, now this is an amazing set of exercise. I've been doing it for 10 years now, right? So I consider one of the most important exercises to do as you age because it combines stretching, muscle retention, and cardio. Not only that, it works in all the right places. So first, I'm going to press my bottom of my feet firmly on the ground so I'm connected with the earth. The earth energy comes up through the gushing spring. Excuse me. So now, once I stand firmly, then I'm going to turn my toes inward, which forces me to loosen up my knee, activating my second heart. My calf is actually, there's been a study, and when you have dementia, the calf deteriorates because that's the second heart. That's what causes enough blood flow into your brain. All right, so now I open my shoulder to put the well on top of the spring. Then I lean back the forehead, tuck in the chin to put the 100 meat on top of my spiral cord. Then I take the center of the palm, point it down, and I move it back just enough so that I form a plane. Now I close my eye, but I focus my eye on the center of my palm. Where the hand goes, the eye goes. Where the eye goes, the mind goes. Where the mind goes, the Qi goes. So I'm entirely focused on the center of my palm. And then when I say go, you use your body and your mind together. Get ready? Go. Now, this part is very important. That was energetic, which means that you were in fight or flight. Your body doesn't know the difference. It thinks that it's being chased by the tiger. So it puts out all the stress hormone, including the cortisol, which is a steroid. This is good. It allows you to reduce inflammation in your body. But now you got to spend equal time on the rest and digest. And you do that by focusing on your breath. I know I'm breathing in. I know I'm breathing out. You do that twice. You check the inside your mouth, because if you actually return to the rest and digest, you would be returning back on the saliva gland. Second time, open your shoulder, palm facing down, completely focus on the center of your palm. Get ready. Go. Back to the breath. One breath at a time. One last time. Go. Back to the breath. Now this sends a shock wave through your spine all the way to the top of your head. The next one is called pointing. So you take your thumb, you point it to the hip. You roll up the four fingers, and you imagine you have two buckets of water, one hanging on each of the thumb, and you lift up the thumb as hard as you can, energizing the large intestine meridian. Again, activating your adrenal gland so it sends out the stress hormone. And then you relax without lowering the hand, maintaining the energy loop, focusing on your breath, one breath at a time, completely focus. Second time, and again, relax without lowering your hand. And then one last time, and then relax and lower your hand and focus on your breath. Check the inside of your mouth. The next one's called beginner's mind. This is what the baby does to energize their heart and pericardium. You put your thumb across, you take your 4 fingers, and then you squeeze your fist like the baby does. When the baby is born, they don't know to do anything, but they do know how to squeeze your thumb. If you keep them a thumb or finger, they will squeeze it. Second time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then back to the breath without lowering your hand. And one last time, squeeze as hard as you can, and then lower your hand this time. Completely relax, focus on your breath, check the inside of your mouth. Remember now, no multitasking, okay? No multitasking, one thing at a time. Now put your fists together, put that in front of your belly button. We're gonna take a deep breath as you raise the fist. And then relax. Now I want you to bring your elbow together, right? Entirely focus on your back. The back is where the large, where the bladder meridians are. I want you to stretch the back as if you're opening up all the channel. And then relax. Second time. And then relax. One last time. And then relax. And then the next one's called fists above the head. So lift the fist above your head, open your shoulder, open the fingers. Now we're going to roll the fist by forming the fist one finger at a time, one joint at a time, lock it together. And this is like when you go get a blood test, the nurse would say, squeeze your fist, right? Because you actually want to increase your heart, right? So this is very cardio. So you squeeze your fist like this. And the heart works really hard because it's trying to break through. And then you relax. Second time, open, squeeze, and then relax. Open your fingers, okay? So the blood can come back. One last time, open your shoulders, squeeze, and then relax. The next one is called stabbing the shoulder. So it's quite complicated. So what you have to do is first you open your shoulder, then you grab as if you're grabbing 2 daggers. You point the dagger onto your shoulder. You don't look down, you look straight ahead. And you stab. You feel the tightness in the back of your neck. It's as you're restricting the blood flow into your head. And then you go, relax. Let the blood come back to the top of the head. You're working on the gallbladder meridian. Now, second time, open your shoulder, grab the dagger, point the dagger on the shoulder, looking straight ahead, stab. And then relax. One last time, stab. And then relax. The next one is called a cross. Again, you're working on the yang meridians. This one is called a triple warmer. So I want you to feel the trees, the 2 trees on the side. Just feel it. Okay, you're always there, almost there. Now, all you have to do is rotate your wrist, work on all those meridian points, and then roll your fist, take a deep breath, hold your breath, and push. Bang means avalanche, right? You push so hard that you're causing an avalanche. Get ready? Second time. After 2 breaths, one last time. Now, the triple warmer is very important because it's everything that is inside these 3 compartments. What's above the diaphragm, what's above the belly button, right? It is so important that we do it twice. So this is called the front hanging. Lock your elbow, right? Feel the tree. Get ready. Take a deep breath. Hold your breath. Push. Second time. Get ready. One last time. Focusing on your breath. All right, now the next one has to do with the muscle. First, this muscle is that important. So it's like doing a chin up. But the key is to look up so you can see the bar. You grab the bar. You completely focus on the bar as you bring down your bar, as if you're doing a lift up. And then relax. Second time, as if you're pulling yourself up, focus on the bar. And then relax. One last time. And then relax. All right, now next one is called stretching the bow, like in bow and arrow. So you imagine you have 2 bows, one on each side. You grab the string and then you just pull it open. Again, it's about the muscle. And then relax. Second time. Relax. Focus on your breath. One thing at a time, no multitasking. One last time. And then relax. And now we're going to do swallowing. Swallow the saliva. Collect all your saliva. Swallow. All the way down to here. Now I want you to check your knee, okay? From here to the end, we're loosening up a knee because we want to use the calf now. Then I want you to straighten your back of the hand touching, go down, all the way down. You're actually dipping your head this time. Lock your elbow, back of the hand touching, squeeze, back of the hand touching, squeeze, back of the hand touching, focusing on your breath, squeeze. Okay, now flip your hand, take a deep breath, and then breathe out, breathe in, lower your knee, see that big rock in front of you, mind, body together, push, and then deep breath, breathe out. Now we're going to meditate. So I was having a discussion with my wife the other day, and we're talking about people who run long distance. And I said, that's really bad for your health. And my wife said, yeah, it's really bad for your knee. I said, people who run, they don't die from having a bad knee. People who run, they die from having a heart attack. He says, oh, how is that possible? They exercise all the time. Isn't exercise good for you? Well, they have heart attack because the body's inflamed from the running. It's not the running that is causing inflammation. It's the fact that they don't know how to return back to the rest and digest. The body is always in fight or flight. And so they create a lot of stress hormone, which initially is very good because it's there, when you run long distance or when you run any distance, your body knows that you have inflammation, your joint, your everything. So it puts out stress hormone to reduce inflammation. But if that's all you do, then over time, you lose sensitivity to the stress hormone. It's called cortisol resistance. So it's the most important thing to you, which is your ability to self-heal, You don't have. So your body inflamed. So the key to reduce inflammation is to just maintain that harmony between the two autonomous nerve system. So this was a very energetic exercise. So it's important that in between we pay attention to our breath, and then afterwards we do meditation. I don't take any supplement. I don't believe in supplement. I think food is your medicine. Just pay attention to the food that you eat. When you eat in the restaurant, they use preservatives. So preservatives kills everything, including your probiotic. So I maintain my health by maintaining my intestinal health. I don't use vegetable oil. I use only olive oil because vegetables are seed oil. Seed is toxic. I don't eat too much sugar. I don't eat too much white rice. I pay a lot of attention to the soluble fiber that I take. I cook my own food. I don't buy food from Costco because when you buy food from Costco, you basically buying cardboard boxes. I don't get my food from cardboard boxes. I do take supplement. I do it for my eyes, right? I do it for my joints, and that's it. What people call vitamins are actually a hormone. If it's truly vitamin, it puts a load on your kidney. If it's called vitamin, but it's in fact hormone, it puts a load on your liver. You can stay healthy by just eating good food, real food. Pay attention to your breath. Feel how your stomach opens when you breathe in, how your stomach closes when you breathe out. That's what you want. You want to use your diaphragm to breathe because the diaphragm actually activates your fight or flight when you breathe in. It activates your rest and digest when you breathe out. So some really important study has shown how doing abdominal breathing actually reduces your chance of having dementia. It also reduces high blood pressure, reduce your any kind of autoimmune. It's just as simple. You just go back to the beginning. When you were a baby, you didn't have any muscle. You didn't know how to breathe with your chest. You only know how to use your diaphragm. That's why babies, when they breathe, you can feel that the stomach is moving. Let's just get back to that. Let's just get back to that. Just feel your stomach when you breathe in. Open your stomach, pointing the belly button forward. When you breathe out, close your stomach, pointing the belly button back. If you can feel that, then let's go to the next step, where we cycle energy through our brain. So now focus on the lower part of your back. As you breathe in, move towards the top of the head, stretch your spine as you go up. And then when you breathe out, come back from the top of the head to the forehead, through your nose, through your tongue. Your tip of the tongue ought to be touching the roof of your mouth. As you come down, lean back and relax. So when you use a diaphragm to breathe, you're massaging your intestines. You generate static electricities. And so by going up and down like this, you're using what is in between the left brain from the right brain to guide the electricities up your spine, which is conductive. And then when you breathe out, you bring it all the way back down. So now you're maintaining the neurological health by passing life energy between your left brain and your right brain, reducing inflammation in your brain, maintaining the separate function of your left brain and your right brain, maintaining balance. People who have dementia They don't start by losing memory. They start by losing balance because they don't their brain is inflamed. So just move up, feel the life energy in you. And then when you breathe out, come back. As you breathe in, the oxygen that you breathe, that's going through your lung, that's a mineral. And mineral adds life to water, so it adds life to the kidney energy. The essence of the kidney energy is the marrow that goes up your spine. The brain matter is part of the marrow, so it goes up to your brain. As you breathe in, you move up, you feel the life energy in you. I want you to be grateful to that. As you breathe out, you lean back, feel the lightness in your body because you're removing the weight from your muscle and putting the weight on your spine. Feel the lightness because you're removing the baggage in your body. But at the same time, think about what would happen if you learn to remove the baggage in your mind. Think about all that stuff that you kept hidden in your mind. The 19 monks, wherever they go now, they talk about how meditations can help not only with your physical health, but your spiritual health. The head monk, Venerable Panya Kara, it spells Pana, but it's actually Panya. Panya is wisdom. Kara is someone who's kind, who shows loving kindness unconditionally. That is, in fact, the spirit of the Shambhala warriors. The legend of the Shambhala warrior is that at the right time, when you think that the world is coming to an end, these people with a purified mind will show up with wisdom on one hand and compassion on the other. So what more signs do you need? What more signs do you need? That you have 19 monks walking from Texas to DC? For what? Just to show that peace is possible if you focus on inner peace. The head monk's actually having a flu. He's taking antibiotic and he's taking IV through his vein to replenish his body. He's not walking in the front anymore. He's walking in the back, and very often I don't see him anymore. So he's inside the camper. I just imagine him being there with Aloka. But as soon as he's rested, he comes back out and walking again. His nurse says, "No, don't walk. You're going to kill yourself." He says, "But there's not enough time. Our world is being destroyed from within. There's not enough time. We got to do what we got to do. And all we have to do is to remove those baggage from our mind. And like the Venerable says, let your inner child reveal itself. Your inner child is full of sweetness, is full of compassion and loving kindness. All you have to do is push away those baggage. You push away the baggage by imagining someone puts holy waters in your head. And that's what the monk does as he walks. He waves around his fan, which is symbolic for his holy water. So imagine that you're receiving this holy water and they're washing away all your trouble from your mind, dripping down. Imagine you have a lotus pond in front of you. And imagine how you feel your pain, but it's now time to accept that pain and let go of the pain. And you say to yourself, I am not willing to live another minute with that. I'm going to let it go. And just let it go, as if the Venerable have used his holy water to wash down your pain. And let it go. Let it go to the bottom of your lotus pond. We don't need any of that. What we do need is the purity of our mind. Let our inner child reveal itself. So you do that by focusing on top of the pond. Buddha's teaching is symbolic in that we always call it, it's like the lotus flower. It's the lotus flower that can rise above the mud and not touched by the mud. It's time for us to find our inner peace. It's time for us that as we breathe in, we move up the spine, we ask ourselves to be grateful for the life that we have, grateful for the family that we have, grateful for everyone in the neighborhood, everyone who lives in the country, even if they work for the wrong guy. I keep saying that. And then when you come down, I want you to practice forgiveness, acceptance. Accept yourself as who you are. Try to forgive yourself for things that you didn't do right or you didn't do enough. You did the best you can. I speak to those who are caregivers, to your spouse, to your parents, to your older relatives, and if you're unfortunate enough, maybe even to your offsprings. I know how hard it is to be a caregiver. I know the guilt looking back, wishing that we have done a better. We didn't have any experience. It's time to let that go. You did the best you can. Let go of the baggage. Say to yourself, I'm not willing to do that for another minute. I owe myself too much. I need to be happy. It's only when I'm happy that I can let my family to be happy. It's only that I can let my fellow countrymen to be happy, to be peaceful. Start with yourself. Work on your gratitude. No matter how bad it is, there's something that you can be grateful of. Work on your acceptance. I talk about the Sunday class that we're starting. So there are a couple of things that need to fall into place. One is the facility. We got the facility. We're in the process of putting in the internet and exercise matches, all the stuff that we need. But more important than that is that I've been looking for a partner. We found a partner. His name is Tien Nguyen, Vietnamese heritage. And if you go to any of my social platforms, you will see a video of him. It's a young man somewhere in the 40s. He made a big mistake. He killed someone. And for that, he spent 16 years of his life. It was a very tough experience for him because he didn't mean to do it. But it was a combination of alcohol and drugs and bad company. And he made a mistake. But somewhere in the 16 years that he was in prison, somebody came up. There was someone who taught him meditation. And with that, he was able to heal himself. And he talks about how when he was a child, his father actually took a knife to his mother And his older brother defended his mother, and he was too scared. He had to hide in the closet. There was a lot of pain. There was a lot of hurt. But you had to deal with that. And all you had to do was just let it go, accept it, and then let it go. And these days, he spent his life helping those who have been incarcerated. He called that justice impacted population. It's not just people who are in jail. It's not just people who are released from jail. It's the family who suffered the trauma. He's doing really good work. He has a lot to be grateful for. And he's putting his experience in good use. That's a lot that we can learn from. That we can start by being grateful for whatever there is that we have. We can start by learning acceptance and ultimately forgiveness, not just to ourselves, but to others. And we can learn to put our existence in good use to make this a better world. I wish that I could be healthy, happy, and be peaceful. I wish that my family can be healthy, happy, and to be peaceful. I wish that all my friends, all my fellow students, all my fellow travelers can be happy, healthy, and peaceful. I wish for all the beings, whether they're big or small, whether they're human or non-human, whether they're visible or non-visible, or whether they're good or not so good, I still wish them to be healthy, happy, and peaceful. May all beings be free from animosity and negative energy. Sabbe Sata Avayantu. May all beings be free from mental suffering. Sabbe Sata May all beings be free from physical suffering. Sabbe Sata May all beings be full of joy and be protected with positive energy. Sabbe Sata Saki Namo Tasso Bhagavato Arahato Sama Sambuddhassa. Namaste. May we all have a peaceful day. I'll see you all next week. And hopefully we get started on a Sunday class pretty soon. And as I said, Tian, Mr. Nguyen, he's actually a registered yoga teacher, and and he teaches yoga in prison. That's where he learned yoga. He actually used it in his work when he was still in prison, helping people overcome their drug addictions and their trauma. And in these days, he teaches yoga to the impacted population. A very nice person, just a wonderful human being. And so what we talk about is really building the Sunday class on the platform that is called the 8 limbs of yoga. So that way we can combine the yogic practice that are familiar to the Westerners as one of the 8 limbs, which we call the asana. And so if you think about that, the Yijin Jing that we've done here, that was handed down by Bodhidharma, another very famous yogi. And so all that practice can be under the umbrella of the asana practice. The work that we do next week on the breathing, that's called the pranayama, which is another branch of the yogic practice. And so we can build our Sunday class on that. I look forward to that. Okay, so you will see the program change a little bit. We alternate between yoga, the yoga practice you're familiar with. Tian actually says that he does some breath work and also does some meditation. So I think it will work well together. All right, so it will be an experiment. And again, thank you so much for all your donations. As you see, last year we collect all that. There are people who are willing to give matching fund, one-to-one matching. So all that went to Venerable Hong to support his work inside the prison. And I'm actually trying to convince him to spend equal time outside the prison now. And one statistics that I might not have mentioned here. So something called, I believe, I don't know how to pronounce it. I believe it's called recidivism, right? It's the number, it's what happens when people, after they are released from jail, they return. Recidivism, I think it's called that. I will have to learn to say that. So typically 65%. So if you have 1,000 people, 650 of them, after they release from jail, will go back. Some of them go back more than once. Just think about it. 1,000 recidivism. I'll learn that. I didn't used to know how to say aluminum. I learned that too. Okay, so point is that in the general population, 1,000 people who were incarcerated after they were released, 650 of them will return, right? And the taxpayer end up paying about $120,000 per person to keep them in jail. They don't get any of that. That all goes to whoever it is that make money on the prisoners. I asked Venerable Hong, I said, over the years that you have been working in jail, how many of them either you touch indirectly or directly? Indirectly means that he doesn't know them, but he communicates them with letters. How many of them are out of jail now? He always says, oh, a lot. I said, 1,000? Oh, more than that. Okay, so let's say 1,000. I know it's more than that. How many of them return to jail? Now, general population 650. People who actually been exposed to mindfulness meditation and loving kindness meditation. How many of them do you think return to jail? He said 2. Now, so your donation is going to good cause. Okay. All right. So I'll see you all next week. Be good. Let us be blessed with health, with happiness, and with peace, starting from peace from within. Okay. 星期一見.
Thank you.
Okay.
師兄
Okay. Bye bye.
感恩
Bye bye. Bye bye.
拜拜拜拜。